Today we have a 2014 Chevy Malibu with the service engine light coming on, so we're going to investigate that and see if we can figure out what's going on. Alright, so with the car in the on position, we can see that the service engine light is on. Alright, so I have a little Blue Driver Bluetooth OBD2 reader, so that's just going to plug in on the driver's side. Underneath there's a port here, plug that in. Alright, so with our key in the on position, we're going to click on read codes and we will scan all system modules. Alright, once we're finished reading the codes, we can see that we have a P16CF error code. If we click on the error code, we can see that this is a common issue, and the top reported fix is to replace the rocker arm oil control solenoid valve. The oil solenoid valve is found under the hood, so the first thing we're going to do here is just pop the hood, pulling that lever there. And in the front, there's a little latch. It's going to slide it to the left here. Here. So long as we want to slide, and we can open the hood. Once the hood is popped, we're going to want to remove this engine cover here. And to do that, there's 3 screws. 1, 2, and 3. And it's just a Torx bit. I believe it's a T30. We're going to remove that next. Once those 3 screws are removed, we're going to remove the oil cap. And we should now be able to just slide this cover right out. And then we'll put the oil cap back just to make sure that we don't get any debris falling down in there. So the oil rocker control valve is just located underneath this air cleaner here. So we're going to have to remove this next. So I'm going to loosen the screw and pull this hose off next. And once that screw is loosened, we can slide this ring up and pop that up and over. Now there's a 10mm bolt right at the back of this hose here that we're going to remove. Alright, to disconnect this hose, I'm just going to use a screwdriver and get underneath here and just slowly kind of work it back until it's up and over. Plastic piece for the air intake. There you go. Now we have a couple hoses that we need to disconnect. There's this one here and that one there. Those are both connected to the engine. The other option is we could try and get this one out here, but I think that's a little bit harder to disconnect, so I'm just going to do this one. So to do that, we're just going to push this pin in this way and over to the left, and then it should just disconnect. There we go. Just push it back. And for this side, we're going to push it in this way and over to the right. Okay, and once it's unclipped, we can just push the hose straight back until it's disconnected. That. And just to be safe, I'm going to disconnect this one as well. So you can see I'm going to push it in towards the engine there and then over to the right. So we'll disconnect that one as well. And once it's disconnected, I just push the whole hose assembly back into place there so that this piece is now free. Once those hoses are disconnected, I'm just going to lift the air intake up a little bit and just put something underneath it just so I can have enough room to get access to the 3 bolts. There's one here, one at the back, and one on the side here. Alright, so I just propped up the air intake there. Next, I'm going to just going to move this red tab back on the oil control rocker valve here, like that. And then I can disconnect this hose by pushing this in here and pushing that back out. So I'm just going to pinch this black tab here and pull straight back out. So there's 3 10mm bolts, one right here behind this wire, one over on this side, and then one directly in the center here. But this one's a little bit tricky to get to with this wire in the way, so I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to remove this clip here, just push that down and pull this out. There we go. This gives us a little more room to work. Now I'm just going to use a wrench to disconnect this first 10mm bolt here, just like that. Now we can remove the one in the center. the back. And now we can remove the last bolt here on the right. And once the 3 bolts are removed, we should be able to just pull that, slide that right out, and the gasket. All right, so we're now ready to replace the oil rocker control valve. This is the new one here. So what I'm going to do first is just thread the 3 bolts through, the longer ones in the center, and then the 2 shorter ones are in the ends here. I'm going to get those started first, and then slide it back into place and put it in, and then we'll start tightening those up. So like I said, I got these 3 started just to bring them to the end right before the gasket there, so that when you slide it in, we don't have to lose any bolts into the engine compartment here. Once I have it in place, I'm just going to hand tighten them as much as I can go, so that the control valve is sitting in place before I tighten them with the wrench. All right, we're now ready to replace the wiring, so we're just going to go and slide that in. Snaps in place, and then we'll push the red tab forward like that, and we'll do the same thing for the one that we moved over here. Snap it in place, and then bring the red tab forward. Okay, so now we're just going to get this hose assembly and just line it up in place right there, and I'm not going to snap it into place yet until I get the air intake all set up and ready to go. Alright, so the hoses are lined up. This one's lined up with the air intake. That one's lined up over here. Once that's done, I'm just going to put the air intake assembly back down into place. And we'll just pull our hoses forward until they all snap into place. All 3 on the side, all snapped in. Alright, now we're just going to slide our hose cover back into place and put the clamp back on over top. Slide that forward, and we can secure this screw. Remove the oil cap, and we can replace the engine cover. Should just slide in. Go. We'll replace our oil cap and our 3 screws. Alright, so behind this hose we have one more 10mm bolt that we gotta secure into place. Alright, last but not least, we're going to clear the codes. So to do that, I'm going to load up the Blue Driver app again and have the key in the opposition and just click on Clear Codes. And we'll clear all codes. Okay, so we've been driving around for a few days and the service engine light has not reappeared. So I would say this is a successful fix. I hope this video helps somebody else that has a P16CF error code on a 2014 Chevy Malibu.